So the final battle, Castle War, between 1500 and 1455 is ongoing, and sadly it is pretty much already over. And this is going to be a bit of a different video than usual because it was a pretty boring castle fight. It was a good fight in some ways, but sadly, however, you can see that fighting against a 1.5 billion power whale, he can basically one versus all. He is pretty much untouchable. So today I'm going to go over exactly how it went. You can see a little bit of the leaderboard here and the points. And there's still, very decent fighting. And we had a very decent time at attacking basically all the other structures. We could win everything except against this guy. So you will see here that we had quite a lot of rallies. And I saved a few of them that were, pretty cool and pretty good or close by. And you will realize quickly that the difference in power between these two guys is pretty massive. Now, TBPO is 400 million power and is still one of the strongest whales around, but this guy is just on another level with his 1.5 billion power. So we did have some quadruple and even 6 rallies hitting almost all at once, but the difference in power here is just staggering. You can see that all of his gear is T5 red legendary, which means completely max with max charm. Our guy still has, pretty close to max everything, including charms. And even the hero gear here is very similar, like it's pretty close, even though obviously this guy has a little bit of an edge. But the difference here in the gear is just staggering. It's over 30% on every single piece of gear. And the difference between TBPO, who probably has spent over $100,000 in this game, and this guy has probably spent at least double, if not triple, what TBPO has spent. So on this level, there is just no one who can really touch him. Even if you come in the leaderboard of all kingdom and look at the personal power, there are people who've been playing this game for over a year who are, of course, in stupid amount of powers. But you can go down the list a little bit, and there's people on level 1.5 billion, which this guy is at 1.6, and he is on the 1455, and everybody else is in double digits or triple digits, except this guy at 15 here. So there is just a different level of spending with these guys. This is hundreds of thousands of dollars spent. So no matter what we do, there is just nothing that can be done to this guy. He by himself can win against anyone, but it was still a good try. You'll see that we had some, double rally where one of our whales still hit him, did some damage, and put him down a little bit, but there's just nothing to be done. Like, these guys are still spending tons of money, and even at multiple rallies at once, we just couldn't touch him. Now, when we're fighting anyone else on their kingdom, we pretty much beat all the towers. We had 4 towers at the time we tried to get them, but there's no way that we could get the middle. So there were some good fights and some good duels for sure. However, there is just, not much that can be done on the level of fighting such a whale. Now, the one really important thing that is to note here is that because we won the prep phase, which is arguably the most important phase to win, and the reason I say that is because even though we lost, we were invading them. So we didn't capture their castle. However, that doesn't mean much because we still have our own castle and it is still ours. So when you do KvK, if you beat the other alliance in prep, you invade their kingdom and fight for their castle. Now, if you win that, they're screwed because you take occupation of their castle, so they have less buffs and you share them with them, so it's a lot less fun. However, if you win prep, your kingdom doesn't get touched. So our kingdom is free and clear. We keep our castle. So in a way, this is the best case scenario when you're going against someone who is that strong. And I'm very happy to see that at least we did win the prep phase. Even though by himself, he still pushed 200 million power, we still managed to get a pretty decent win. I think we had over 6-7% extra points on them for this phase. So you can see here that we were the winning kingdom, and that was, the really big thing that saved us, because I don't think any kingdom will ever really be able to win against a whale like that. Now, I feel pretty bad for people on that kingdom because the entire fight was just waiting for 5 to 6 rallies to hit the middle, and then nothing happened. We would take him down sometimes to, like half HP. If you look here, like he gets to 700 something. Here he gets to 500 something. So we're still making a decent dent. Some of these are pretty decent, like for the difference in power, but there's just no way unless we had like 4 TBPO. And even then with the refills, it's pretty hard to take away from him. So props to this guy for carrying his entire server, and props to everybody for that server, of course, for winning. However, you know, we're still, I'm pretty happy because we're still on top by having win prep. We really don't lose anything, and we can go on to the next KvK without having any disadvantage of not having a king and a castle for a month. So other than that, I'll leave you on some clips of the highlights when actual fights were happening around the castle for a little bit. But other than that, that's about it for this KvK. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the previous video where we go over all the prep and everything that happened there. And of course, good game to everybody. It was still a very fun KvK. A lot of action during prep, some good war. And otherwise, we'll stay tuned for more videos coming up about more Kingshot content in the future.
A bass guitar, simmer down and mess me up, tripping like I'm Jimmy at Woodstock.